Oh man, DirtX Podcast is proudly presented by DiecastDeals.com. Use code DirtX at checkout for 5% off and please stay green.
Welcome back, race fans and race haters. I'm Jacob Dove along with Jacob Perry, and this is the DirtX Podcast, episode 14, presented by DiecastDeals.com. And man, what a weekend of racing at St. Louis for the Gateway Dirt Nationals, the ninth annual running of it. Short and sweet. It was a lot of jam-packed stuff over the weekend. Obviously, cushion banging Jacob over there. He was in St. Louis for it again. I was having FOMO watching at Flow Racing at home, so wishing I was there. But Florida man doesn't do cold, and it looked really cold. So, kind of walk us through your experience. I know you were only there for Friday and Saturday, but man,
hmm
you were there for Friday, and I was really jealous because a lot happened.
Yeah, so Friday was legit. I mean, they both days were just absolutely insane. So
It's hard to not talk about Kyle Brunson. He was the big story on Friday night. Seems like everybody was getting their feathers ruffled by him. And well, our boy Brendan Smith, who we had on the podcast before, was doing great. He had an awesome run. Did well in qualifying and did well in his heat race. Held off RTJ, and then yeah, all hell broke loose from there. And as you can see here in the screenshot, Kyle Brunson kind of aftermath of picking up Huddy, and just kind of walk us through that. I know it's a big topic, and we just kind of have to get this out of the way because it's been very talked about in the dirt world.
yeah, so first and foremost, what speed out of that 19 car. And you could tell that our cracker he was excited. I don't think he's been in a race car that's been that competitive, and he was like a pig in shit, man. So first and foremost, that team's off to a great start. They have speed. Um, he's not afraid to use it either. But as far as the incident goes, and I was sitting in turn two. I was sitting in turn two going into the back stretch, and I saw the first slider Brendan through, and there's a certain level that almost all the drivers agree on that the dome has a level of forgiveness, right? You're not going to clear every slider. There's some they know what's coming, and there's an acceptable range for it. I felt that the first slider Brendan threw was in that range, and I think a lot of people agreed with me too. And then Bronson didn't. The next one he went up and into turn three, and Brendan went to kind of block it a little bit, and he ran kind of middle, and Bronson threw it in there, and I mean ran him clear up to the track, and then Brendan got out of it. It's the only reason why Brendan didn't go in a fence. So if you want to go back and watch the replay, you'll see what I'm talking about. But Brendan, got the first nudge, he got the second nudge, and he got out and said, "Okay, I'm going to duck under." And then Brendan went in and did the same thing Bronson did in my eyes, but Bronson chose to stay in it. And if you go, what Flow released does not help Bronson's case in my eyes. So there's an in car floating around of Bronson's in car, and it shows the slider coming from Brendan that caused the issue. The slider hit Bronson's nose. Okay. It didn't hit him in the door, it didn't hit him in the tire. It hit right in front of the tire in the nose. In my eyes, and like I said, I'm not behind these cars and everything else like that. I'm just a fan for a long time, and I think everybody kind of tends to form an opinion here, but I think that Bronson overreacted a little bit, and I think Bronson could have got out of it. And yeah, you could have, if that wouldn't have happened, and he walks around the track trying to get Brendan out of the car, fair, okay, that's what the dome's for. Cody preaches it and everything else. Brendan's running second in this prelim. If Brendan gets out of the car, he's disqualified. He's not going to get out of the car. Nobody in their right mind will get out of the car. So that's my defense to that. And I don't want to sound biased because we had him on here. He's a good friend of both of ours, but facts are facts. And if Brendan was on the other end of this, I got no problem shitting on him and texting him and telling him about it. It's just kind of the way it goes. But I think Bronson had a right to be mad. I think Brendan had a right to be mad. And it's just at the end of the day, it's dome shit.
As a Florida race fan and seeing all those Florida guys up there, man, throughout all those heat races and everything, it was going great for our state for racing. I mean, we had Mark
hmm
White, we had Clay Harris, we had Brennan Smith, we had, all these Florida drivers up there. I was like, wow, we're doing really good. We're putting on a show for these fans and finally putting our state on notice, right? And then all hell goes downhill from there. Man, like Ben Shelton was saying during the broadcast, if you're watching on Flow, he's like, "Oh, don't do that. You guys are both transferring it.
Yeah.
it was the top three that go to the main show, right? And all those guys were Florida drivers: Whitener, Smith, and Brunson. So if they just would have kind of raced each other a little bit more clean, they could have easily just went to the big show and locked themselves in. But instead, I feel like Bronson was definitely the aggressor on that. I mean, like you said, go back and watch the replay. Brunson just kind of shoots up Brennan into the wall there, and Brennan, stood up to himself. And you have to give a heads
Hmm.
off to that, because a lot of these young guys, I mean, Brennan's what, 20 years old, and Brunson's probably double his age, and guys aren't gonna take shit from each other. And the fact that he went out there and basically sent it in there, going in the corner, saying, "I'm gonna slide you back." You have to have some balls for that. So you have to give some respect for Brennan in that, because not many guys will stand up to the guys, especially that 32 car. But we'll get into that later. Yeah, just it was just hard racing. That sucks because I like Brunson and Smith. Obviously, they probably don't like each other anymore, but it definitely gave us some entertainment, right, from a fan standpoint. It was kind of
Yeah.
dry on Thursday night. Thursday kind of had some, that Chad Wallace kind of bumped into Dylan Thornton there under caution. That was really the only drama throughout the night. But yeah, it gave some people to talk about. I know over my skit gave me a lot of content for TikTok. So shout out to Brennan for stepping up for himself, and I think Brunson will eventually get over it. And they were playing with each other during those intros with the silly stuff with
Yeah.
the winger.
So I'll say one more thing and then we'll try to move on because we can sit and talk about this all night. You have a mixture of two things. You have inexperience and not being a veteran in Brendan, and Brendan being in a car with that much power and that much dig on the first race in the dome. Okay. And then you have Bronson, who has, I don't know a better word to put it, but who has bullied his whole career to that, right? And I don't want Bronson to sit here and act like he hasn't done that to somebody. I've watched him throughout the years, and he's been just as bad, if not worse, than Brendan at times. So you have to have a little bit of give and take here. And I think once Brendan gets older, and we've seen it with all your throttle masher guys, these kids mature and they mature into drivers. And I think you have a mixture of the two things. And Bronson can't sit there and be Mr. Clean, and even though he kind of looks like it. Yeah, fun joke, dad joke there. But he can't sit there and preach like that when he does the same shit. So I'll leave it on that. I think it's water under the bridge. I think they'll both be fine. But yeah, I mean to hit it, the Gators took over the dome, man. Us Illinois boys were in trouble there for uh, all of Friday and most of Saturday.
Those Gators was another than Mark Whitener, kind of ruffling feathers there with Hudson O'Neal. Any thoughts on that situation? I think it was hard racing. O'Neal was trying to slide around Whitener to get the lead, and just kind of made contact, and O'Neal got the short end of it with the flat tire.
I think Huddy tries to be too clean here. I think you have to go in with a level of, hey, this shit's going to happen. And it wasn't like last year was the whole Carpenter incident where he got ran into the opening, right? Everybody fights, that's Huddy. He shouldn't have been up there. No, bullshit. He got ran into the opening. But I didn't see this one as being that. I don't think Mark knew that Huddy was up there. I thought Mark thought he was clear, and he wasn't at a door. He wasn't at a rear. He just kind of, and Huddy drove around the outside. And Mark even said, he goes, I felt like he took me with him. So, I mean, he kind of took the ass into the car with him and everything else. I think Huddy kind of overreacted a little bit, but once again, this is all opinions. I'm not in the cars. I don't know what it feels like. Um, it's just I felt like that was a little bit exaggerated, and you have to have some grace for the short racetrack that you're on.
And if anybody has watched our previous episode 13, make sure you check that out to make any sense of what we're talking about today. But we touched on the paint schemes, right? We ranked our favorite ones. Well, you got to see them in person, and I'm very
Yeah,
jealous of that. Unfortunately, though, a lot of the ones that we really liked ended up getting the deck torn off and the front clip on the other side of the track, and spoilers were absolutely non-existent anymore. So, kind of walk us through some of the schemes that looked even better in person, in your opinion.
we'll go this way. Ones that surprised me in person, I didn't pick. Tyler Carpenter's looked pretty good under the lights. It had a very pearlescent reflective on it. It was nice. Um, and I've been slobbering over Nick's all week, and it looked even better under the lights. I mean, I could keep going on, and then Marlar's. The more I saw Marlar's, the more I liked it. I just feel like there's so many.
It's a shame that Maxim dome structure ended up coming true. Just absolutely
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely monster trucked it. And I thought it was funny that Marler kind of, if you watched the replay on the big screen, that, well, at least on Flow Racing, that Marler was just kind of laughing it off. Like, I know a lot of other guys like Joyner and Turbo who blew engines on like hot laps, ended up not having any racing the rest of the weekend. They were pissed off. They were upset. And Marler's just out here kind of laughing it off.
Yeah, so I have a couple questions about the whole Marler thing. I did not know that that was a new race car. It's a Velocity chassis. What's the story with that?
That's news to me. I don't know about velocity.
Yeah, it was a Velocity race car, and if somebody, please, if we're wrong, correct us in the comments. But it was a little bit concerning from my perspective that, I mean, we'll start off this way. First timers to the dome, Alberson, Marlar, both wadded it in the fence. It's hard to run around here if you don't know what to expect. And they both took it in way too deep and tried to arc it too hard, and they backed it into the fence. What alarms me, though, is if you were watching, you saw Marlar's whole fuel cell just ripped out. Okay. And he didn't go through the fence. He didn't go up the fence. He literally backed it in the fence at speed. I'll give it that. Hit one of the posts, and all of a sudden the fuel cell rips out. That's a safety concern in my eyes. And I think we need to kind of be aware of that. And I hope Marlar's aware of that too, because they're not going stupid fast there. Yes, the impact was hard. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But a lot of people have done that, and not one fuel cell has ripped out but his.
Yeah, that was the first time that's ever happened. I know the guys down in the infield, like Blake Anderson and all those Flow Racing guys, were saying that, damn, they're going to have a whole race car to put together by the time the dome's over. They can put the spoiler and the fuel cell and
Mhm.
fenders and tires and have a whole late model out there. But yeah, definitely a safety concern, and glad nobody got seriously hurt because it could have ended up in hitting a photographer down there in the infield.
Yeah, so another incident was this might have been Saturday, but there was on the front stretch, three cars kind of got jumbled and everything else, but their wheel cover came flying off and it went straight up. And me and my son both saw it, and I'm like, oh God, I hope that doesn't go into the crowd. So I think there needs to be more rules, maybe for the dome only. We need to go back to foam inserts for that reason. The fans are super close and kind of contained there, and there's a lot of safety concerns after this weekend in my eyes.
To quickly give a shout out to Garrett Alberson's crew because, man,
Hmm.
Alberson did not make it easy on them at all. My buddy Chasen, who's one of the crew guys on there, he was just absolutely going to town, hammering on fenders, replacing them, and the fact that they were even able to get Alberson back out there for the last chance races and all that was really impressive to see. So yeah, these crew guys back there, man. I mean, I wasn't there, but just from watching on Flow Racing, the crew guys were busy this weekend.
Yeah, and if my memory's correct, they rebuilt the deck in that fucking car three times, twice in one night, and then over the course of the next night. So absolutely insane. And I guess it's a good way to get practice, but the dome's great. Everybody loves going to it. I think the teams love going to it until it comes time for shit like that. The team's like, oh my God, I'm so sick of replacing the deck in this car. So yeah, first timers to the dome kind of struggled a little bit. Besides, Brendan, and then you had Brock who ran good, and I think I think his temper got the best of him a little bit, and that's when he started driving hard and everything like that. And once again, he's another one that's young and he's a throttle masher, so it is what it is.
Even our other Dirt X guest there, Nick Hoffman, going out there and qualifying and absolutely tearing the deck out of it. Luckily,
Hmm.
he had like 5 or 6 crew guys this weekend helping him out, and even his old buddy that he's been, you know, kind of teammates with this year, Jonathan Davenport. He struggled. He had a lot of times where he was, going through equipment there, and they were thrashing on to get through the one of the last chance showdowns to even make it in the show. So yeah, definitely seen some of the top guys struggle here with the tight racing that it is and how much equipment they go through. So, also want to give a shout out to my buddy Michael Leach. He went quick time on Friday night, first time ever at the Dome, and he goes out there. I know the guys were saying, "Man, a guy from Montana showing up and going quick time. I don't think that's ever happened at the Dome."
Yeah, I don't know of any other late models from Montana. So yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest fish in the dry pond.
A great looking car. So definitely checked it out. Michael is one of the good buddies in the pit area. So definitely check out his new merchandise. He's got sweet hats and all that. So yeah, it didn't work out like he wanted to, but definitely a solid showing. So moving on. Now that we got the paint schemes out of the way, let's just talk about the results. And well, Saturday night went through the qualifiers. A lot more drama. I know Unzicker wasn't happy with Dave Hester going off the track, got stuck behind his fender, had to pull him apart. Moran was still kind of mad at Hayden Cardwell for kind of ruining his whole weekend. So, yeah, talk about all the prelim stuff leading up to the main shows.
Yeah, so we'll hit on the Cardwell and Moran thing kind of first. I think it was before the other incident, but like I said, it's all a blur. Um, Cardwell showed great speed. Moran kind of struggled all weekend, in which, to be honest, Moran struggles in that building up until now. But Cardwell, yeah, he just kind of was being over aggressive, and it's another Huddy Whitener incident in my eyes. I don't think Devin had a huge reason to be mad. I thought for the end of that, I thought Cardwell was going to straight line the kid. I really did. I felt you could see him getting frustrated, and it's one of them. I do one of the shoulder taps to the person next to me and point, and I thought it was going to be a straight line fence pile driver, but it wasn't. And I think it ended the best possible way it could. But I think Hayden has a lot of talent and he has a lot of speed. And I think we saw a good group of younger guys this weekend that could be the future of our sport, and it looks promising. As far as the unsticker incident and Dave Hess, first and foremost, I made a post. Dave Hess on Thursday hit everything but the hot dog cart, and it was absolutely terrible. But I'm going to stick up for him here, and I'm a huge Unzicker guy. Obviously, he's very, very local to me, and I've known him my whole life. Unzicker, he prides himself on racing very, very clean, and that's something you should until you get to the dome. Okay, you have to walk in here knowing that that stuff's going to happen, and you have to be somewhat okay with it. His whole thing is, I don't race people that way. I don't want to be raced that way. Yeah, bud, but this is the dome. Like shit change. This is the Bowman Gray of dirt. Okay, you cannot take offense to shit. Dave Hess is a local guy that had a shot to move up and play alphabet soup and make a qualifier, and he did it. And it wasn't that dirty. He right reared him a little bit and moved on. Shit, we see that stuff at Eldora. I mean, that's why I think Unzicker is more frustrated that he left the opportunity there. He's just not telling people that.
Touch on this picture here. It was absolutely insane that they captured Bam Bam Brock Pinkerus doing his best impression of the Flintstones here. Man, I know we both like Brock, young kid, first time at the Dome, comes from the micro ranks, and he's out there trying to do his best. But seemed like he was in every caution involved every time he was out on the track.
Yeah, I had high hopes from him. He qualifying, he showed good speed, held off RTJ. I thought RTJ was being pretty easy with him in that. What I don't even know what they call it. Heat qualifier on whatever the hell it was on prelim night. RTJ could have forced the issue and got past him. He definitely was faster. Gave Brock the win. And then something happened in one of the qualifiers or something like that, and it really just set Brock off. And I think that's the first time he's really, in front of a crowd at least, had to drive with a temper, and it showed. Um, I think the kid will be damn good, and I'll kind of go to bat for him. I think every good race car driver goes through these stints. He got a lot of hate online, and I even made a post right before all this shit went down, like, "Hey, Brock can go, and he can." But I think he was overly aggressive, and if the moves he did would have worked, everybody's opinions would have changed tremendously. There's a margin of error about this big at that place, and I feel like if his sliders would have cleared, he would have been like, "Holy shit, who's this kid?" But instead, that half inch didn't clear, and he parked a couple people. So yeah, it is what it is, and that's his first time at the dome, and I hope he'll be back, and I hope he continues going because I do like the kid, and I think he has a massive amount of talent to develop.
From the prelims was well, Highland Speedway getting some publicity in the wrong way. Their
Yeah,
track master ends up breaking, and I know the guys at Flow Racing were absolutely laughing their asses off. It was really hilarious, but obviously not very cool for Highland Speedway having their equipment jumped. Definitely a first time for everything at the Dome.
yeah, but it wasn't. That's the best part. This happened last year. Same exact shit.
Did it?
Broke it, everything else. Yeah, and then they went back and got the same cart. and the same shit happened. That's the funniest part, and that's why everybody was so kind of up in arms about it. But they got it fixed and back up for Saturday. So I don't know. I think that damn cart's cursed. I think they need to get a new one.
I had no idea. I thought it was the first time, but
Mm-mm.
yeah, it's kind of funny when stuff like happens like that. And I know another funny thing that happened was Will Harrington. Well, it's funny to us, but not really to Harrington. Looked like one of those little Hot Wheels cars that I used to play with as a kid, or a Matchbox, and you're messing with the wheels, and the wheels come out and stick out like a couple
Mhm.
inches. Like that was an absolutely crazy image out there too.
Yeah, so I think the ruts at that place will definitely show the equipment and the setup differences in cars. And I was going to wait to hint on this a little bit, but it kind of opened the door. I think that's what Brendan really struggled with on Saturday in the main. He could not get through the ruts like the rest of the field. That car was just, complete. Shocks were completely stretched out, and he was just bahan all night. And I think that's what eventually got him. But it'll test equipment, and if you're not on the top notch equipment there, you're gonna break.
One guy that didn't have any problems this weekend was well, the guy that won 70 grand, Bobby Pierce. So let's just kind of get this out of the way. I know there's been a lot of debate on social media after I put out a tweet saying that I don't know how the 32 can be better than everybody else. Wasn't even close come feature time. And it really wasn't. It was a record. I think it was over 3 seconds that he won by. It just seemed like every restart, you get such a big jump. And I know there's a lot of people on social media mad about it, that he was jumping the starts and they weren't calling it or anything. So, what could you see from being at the Dome? I know it's different on flow versus where you were.
He wasn't. He was definitely on another level as far as speed and balance. Balance was very key with Bobby. He could do whatever he wanted to with that car and put it wherever he wanted to. Um, as far as the restarts go, I want to kind of hint on that, and I think that needs to clear the air. We saw starts pulled back quite a few times for not starting in the restart zone or second place firing before first. But what a lot of fans don't know is the dome's still under the rules of you go when the leader goes in 3 and 4. And that did not get clarified, and I think that caused a huge uproar online. But it is that way there. Also, they still make judgment calls under cautions, respectfully so, at that race. So it's not a hey, they stopped wheel spinning. This is why this is the main topic that I hate in our sport is there's so many different fucking rules for so many different series, and nobody knows what's going on. Just when a new fan gets to learn, hey, no, he's got to keep going under caution in order to join the field, then it's not the case at the next fucking race they watch. It's terrible and it needs fixed. Anyway, Bobby got good jumps. He caught the guy sleeping a couple times. I thought toward the end of that, once Ricky got kind of separated from Feger and all them, I thought Ricky had a shot. And he did the Ross Chastain a couple times and just put it up there and let it eat. And I felt like if he could do that for another 2 laps, he would have got to Bobby. I don't know if he could have done anything with him, but he could have got to him. Back on the Bobby topic, they're really, and they even talked about, I don't know if it was on television or not, they interviewed Arpin, and they're really on these Olin shocks. And Bobby is on these Olin shocks. I don't know if Ricky is yet. I think Ricky still might be on last year's program, but there's one thing that Bob Pierce and Bobby Pierce are going to do is they're going to figure shit out. And I think this new shock system, it really matched up for the dome, and his balance was incredible. So I think that was the difference. I don't think it was so much speed, like you said, that he was that much faster. It was balance and being comfortable enough to drive that car and run the line he needed to run.
It's easily, to tweet out and kind of get other people's opinions. And I know a lot of people are saying, jumping to conclusions that the 32 was cheating. I didn't want to put out there saying, oh, Bobby's out there cheating. He's obviously, doing something everybody isn't. And he might be, or he might be not. We don't really know
Yeah.
because of the rules of this event, right? After the race is over, they put him on the scale, they check the car, that's it. They don't send these tires to Blue Ridge Labs and see if he's doping tires. It's not like the other events, and they're not, checking everything as the deck height and all that. And if we want to be taken serious with this event as a real race, do we go moving forward, implementing the regular race rules as far as, tech inspection and even with the Delaware double file restarts. I know I kind of talked about that too on social media. A lot of people are not in agreement that, that they should have these. And what are your thoughts on that? Because I know we're talking about the restarts, and it's kind of just a total big advantage for whoever's in the lead to get that huge jump, and nobody can have even a chance at sliding them to come turn one.
Yeah, so I think Cody kind of shot himself in the foot with this American Racer Hoosier thing. I
Mhm.
think that kind of takes the laboratory test out of it. And we all know my opinion. If you're a follower of this series whatsoever, you know my opinion on the laboratory test. But it's the best thing we have right now. And
Mhm.
that place, that is the Chili Bowl of late models, and we all know the shit that goes down at the Chili Bowl and the shootout, right? You have to tire test. You have to. I don't think nobody was blatantly doping that was relayed to me from the pits, and I was coming and going, and I talked to a lot of people. Nobody ever mentioned anything of that nature, and I didn't see any definite like holy shit, this guy's on a different level that much. Bobby was fast, but I don't think it was a tire doping fast situation. But you can't do that when you have two tires without dumping double the money in my eyes, unless I'm missing something. But it definitely needs to be a thing for the future. Tires need to be regulated there when you're up for 70,000. It's not like it's a 10 grand to win exhibition race. This is 70 grand. And rumors are swirling that it is 100 grand next year. That is not confirmed by Cody yet. But I'm pretty sure that it's going to be 100 grand next year. I hope it is at least. As far as droop, man, that's you can't do that at the dome. That's impossible. Everybody rips their rear deck out, so I don't know how you're going to measure droop per se. Weight definitely needs to be a thing. There's other way. These guys are going to make these cars so unsafe, and it's just you can't do that. But definitely tires, definitely weight, and maybe some other little technical things. I don't know the answer, but we need to have something for sure, and you're on the right track.
Wanted to kind of touch on our big partnership that we had this weekend with another end, your neighbor, basically in Clinton, Illinois. Kyle Hammer, drop the hammer. Uh,
Yeah.
Obviously, I got to meet Kyle back at Volusia. I've kind of watched him over the years, mostly in the modified stuff, but it was awesome to see him, doing double duty this year. And having our DirtX podcast logo on the car was pretty damn cool. I know it kind of came late. We wanted to kind of preview it before the dome, but things don't work out. It's the holidays. So I'm going to pull up some pictures of our car if you haven't seen it on social media and kind of talk about that whole deal with Kyle.
Yeah, so been working on it for a little bit, trying to figure out how we were going to do it and everything like that, and ended up doing it for both cars and really stoked. So Kyle is a huge dome competitor. He's made the this is the first year, of course, we were kind of condemned by this. The first year that he hasn't made the show that I can remember. Last year he ran ninth. He damn near won a prelim a few times. So I thought we had an odds-on favorite, and I thought we had an ace in the hole here for sure. And he did well. He was a human Uber driver most of the evening, both nights. He avoided all the big catastrophes and everything like that you're supposed to do. He just buried himself in qualifying. He did the same thing Nick did. He went shortly after Nick, if I remember right, and knocked the whole rear, decking off of it, repaired it back. I love our logo on the front of that. The colors match. It looks sweet. The mod didn't match as much, but that definitely did it. And I was stoked. He went out for that last chance to win in your in race, and I was yelling from the stands, get off the bottom, get to the top. You got to do something crazy. But then he starts picking cars off. I'm like, holy fuck, we got a shot here. He just ran out of laps. So it was awesome, man. He's got an amazing amount of talent. Like I said, good friend of mine. And I can tell you from a few car owners that I've talked to, he's definitely on the radar if a guy ever drops out of a seat. Kyle is definitely on the radar. He's got, World Outlaws experience. He ran for Rookie of the Year and didn't work out. He pulled off the schedule, three-quarters of the way in. But he's definitely one to watch for the future, and he's got a buttload of talent.
Yeah, every time that 45 car, whether it was the late model or modified, went on track, I was always trying to see where our DirtX podcast logo. And I know we got some TV time and the wrong way. Unfortunately, like you said, Kyle kind of got screwed over a couple times and got clobbered in somebody else's mess. And I know they pulled the hood off, and I saw the DirtX, and people were messaging me like, "Oh, there's your logo!" Like that was really cool. And you kind of captured this one picture, and I know we posted it already, but I think it's just cool of really the true sense of what double duty is all about.
Yeah, so he took another good friend of ours in here in town, mod driver. So that's Colin. He actually ran his mod in Florida when you met him down there. That's the car he was driving. So Colin was pulling the late model up because these races were back to back. I think that was the mod qualifier versus the win and you're in, or Yeah, the win and you're in for the late model. So he, ran off the track, immediately got in that car and went up. But to see both those cars there, I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool, man. I don't care the results or whatever. It was just badass. I'm glad we got to be a part of it, and we're definitely going to do it again.
Another cool thing that you sent me was the jumbotron, right? Having the participate by sending whatever you want, whether it's drama, gossip, or promoting yourself. And well, we went with promoting ourselves, and I thought this was really cool. I know we posted this again, but I keep looking at this, and I'm like, man, we're trying to move it up there in the world and really get this podcast going out there.
Yeah, we're doing everything we can to on the limited budget and the limited skill set and everything that we have here. So, just somebody cut us a break, man, is all we're begging for, and we're trying to do everything that we possibly can. No, it's definitely cool, and we could have a whole segment on the wild shit that was on that thing. Oh my God, I heard about people's child support not being paid. I heard about drivers' sexual preferences. I heard about oh, I could, what fruits people like the best. I mean, there was a whole lot of shit up there.
Only up on the screen, but down on the track. I mean, I know it ended up being a fake AI thing, but let's just talk about this thing that was going around on social media on the whole Weber Valley Selena 52 truck stop thing. Right, and Bobby Pierce sucks, man. If this was actually real, I would have. I already laughed my ass off when I saw it, but if it was actually came true, I thought that was funny, and somebody was definitely going to get in trouble over this.
Yeah, so I didn't see this picture until today when I got up. That's actually right where we were sitting. I believe that's turn two because the pyro sticks there. That's all Chase Holland's money that was attached to his car that you see laying around there.
Mhm.
And yeah, that never happened. It just didn't.
There's a whole lot of shenanigans. I know we could go on and on about it, but speaking of Weaver Valley, glad to see that Piss Jug Man was able to make an appearance, and I know he was in there with Ashton Winger's intro, and yeah, it's cool to see the not so serious side of dirt racing coming out and participating and getting some media attention.
Yeah, so I was hoping this would be the case, with Weber and Selena getting kind of, the stage and the spotlight a little bit. I never saw him coming up to the crowd or anything. He must have stayed back in the pits. After the races were over, I saw him out in the concourse area, which if you've ever been, the concourse area is an absolutely madhouse. Um, the biggest crowd we've ever had at the Dome, and it was elbows to assholes. If somebody farted, you could tell what they had for lunch. It was absolutely madness. But I never saw him out there, but yeah, I'm stoked for it.
I know I was kind of getting emotional there. Kind of intros before the feature, man. God bless the USA gets me every time. Just seeing that crowd with all the lights, everybody singing along, word for word, participating. Like you said, record crowd. Just kind of take it in, like from your standpoint. What were you thinking going through that opening ceremony? Because that was badass.
The best current thing in sports, period. And I'll get flamed for it, and that's fine. Nobody else does anything like that. And the Dome has, they did it since I think year two, and they didn't do it one of the years, and they caught hell about it. The fans look forward to it. They feel a part of it. Um, it'll get you. It's tough. It'll make your stomach kind of, wiggle a little bit. And then, they go straight into driver intros. Man, there's nothing like it. It's absolutely insane. If you've never been, I keep saying this, and if you've never been, you have to experience it.
Yeah,
The pyro right after will scare the ever living shit out of you. I know it's coming just because of the timing and how many times I've been. My wife knows it's coming, but it still scares the shit out of her every time. But if you don't know, like that shit, it'll get you the fireballs and the mortars. Oh my God.
like I said, just watching on Flow Racing, like I got goosebumps.
Mhm.
Definitely nothing like it, especially being in a NFL stadium, right? You got almost a packed out crowd, so it really shows how much dirt racing is, getting more popular. We've seen Rico Abreu showing up, showing he wants to get behind the wheel of a late model and a modified next year, so that should be cool. But just kind of rate your overall experience, maybe 1 through 10, on a scale of overall experience on Saturday. Between all the races that you saw and just everybody that you got to talk to and all the people that you had probably had a beer with.
Yeah, I met a lot of people, a lot of the same faces, and you make friends every year you go there. And then you sit in a different section next time, you make new friends, and that's one thing I preached on the last episode. I've never sat with anybody that didn't end up being friends at the end, and it's literally every time. But then you see friends that you made last year, and you both recognize each other, like, hey, how's life? Da, da, da. It's bar none. Overall this year on a scale of 1 to 10, probably a solid 7 or 8. It's not the best one I've ever been to. I'm not scared to admit it. It's not. I felt like the driver intros, some of the drivers dropped the ball a little bit, song choice, everything like that. I felt like the racing could have been better. I feel like I don't want to say botched the track prep, but they overdid it. And they wanted to protect against rubber. I get that. That track, I've never seen that track kind of dry out as fast as it did this year. I don't know if that's because of the weather situation or where maybe that dirt's being used up now, or because Cody stores that dirt all year. I don't know if that was the case, but it felt like it slicked off, and even though it slicked off, it still provided good racing. But I felt like the racing has been better in the past. So I would be comfortable with a 7 to 8, somewhere around there.
Also wanted to throw in there, you were mentioning about making friends and seeing old friends, and well, fortunately, make some haters as well. So we won't really go into that, but
I ain't hard to find.
yeah. Wanted to kind of talk about, Cody, right? Hats off to him. He does a great job promoting it, putting this together. It takes, like the guy, I forget his name, who does the track prep down there. They were interviewing him. Um, I don't know if you remember his name.
I no, I heard him talk, and I have no idea who it is, to be honest. I mean, that used to be KG's, whole ordeal. He was in charge of the track prep, and I don't know who this guy is. I felt like he thought he had a good handle on it. A lot of hate going on with and it sounds stupid to say, but with the water truck golf carts, guys, you don't realize until you get there how narrow and stuff it is. That water truck can't go out in between races and just go back in easy. They brought it out for the huge tilt before the feature and everything, but that I promise you, and you once you go, you'll see it. But that golf cart does exactly what it needs to do, and it does okay. So please leave it alone.
Like you said, different change with the track prep, and a lot of people were talking about maybe next year expanding it, making it 100 laps or so, maybe putting late models after the modifieds. That way, it kind of gets slicked off. Maybe we see that. I don't know. I feel like Cody has done a good job kind of listening to fans and other fellow competitors, like even Nick Hoffman, right? He brought to attention about the big scoreboard, drivers being able to watch
Mhm.
going down the straightaways and seeing what the guy behind them, how far back is, and kind of takes away, this is not NASCAR, right? They don't have spotters. This is all about feel, and that's what's cool about dirt racing. So, I mean, I shared my opinion out there. I think that, it is kind of an advantage. It would be cool just to have the lap count with sponsors underneath, and then have the running order, so you can just have the top 10 or so, and that way no drivers have an advantage. It's the same thing with Chili Bowl, right? Guys are looking at the screen. I gotta give a hats off to Cody, and even Clyde, his redneck cousin. So pretty fun character. But just wanted to quickly touch before we end this episode about Cody's promoter's invitational decision, and that was his own car with Dylan Thornton and the DRT 13. I know a lot of people were kind of out there saying that's kind of BS. What were your thoughts about that?
I was waiting on Cody to kind of call me out about that because I made a comment about it too. I've done nothing but praise Cody for this whole event. It is my favorite event, bar none. I stand behind, all the raps. I do everything I can on my side to show everybody this is my favorite event. Um, I have seen now, this will be the third time, and I'm not going to name names. This will be the third time that I've seen that promoters provisional be very, very questionable. The year, either last year or the year prior, there was Hocevar got it. And that one kind of stung, and obviously a little bit biased here, but Kyle finished 2 positions ahead of Hocevar and didn't get it, but yet Hocevar got in. I see both sides of it. Hocevar sells tickets. No, he doesn't. Um, but this one kind of took the icing on the cake, and I hope to God Cody, listens to us, which he won't. But um, that's not a good look, bud. It's not a good look, regardless of whatever. Yeah, it's mine. I'm going to do what I want. Yeah, but you're here for the fans, right? The fans pay the bills. We, I don't know. Make a fan vote provisional. Just a thought, not a promoter's choice. Make a fan vote. It's not a good look, is what I'll leave it on. I didn't like it. I thought it was absolutely horrendous. Dylan ran like shit all weekend just to be put in a show. Sorry, it's the truth. I love it. I'm a huge Dylan Thornton fan. first and foremost, watching him supernats is absolutely amazing. If you've never done it, go watch it. Um, Horrible look. Did not agree with it. But if that's what Cody does wrong this whole event, so be it.
Yeah, like you said, no knock to Dylan. He's a great driver, but did not have a very solid showing out there. And I kind of look at it as a way as, you know, why even put the 13 car out there for his prelim night? Why even run them in the last chance showdowns and all that if you're just going to put them in the show? Just
Yeah.
save him for the future, and he can go out there and it doesn't look good when Dylan is in almost a lot of the cautions that happen in the future too. So definitely a rough weekend for that DRT 13. So I did want to ask you though, wasn't Devin Moran's fan vote kind of the thing to get him in the show?
Oh, I have no idea. Was that it? I thought he just got in by another provisional. Was that the fan vote? Then I stand corrected.
Yeah, the back of the field was Dylan and Moran, and then obviously Trevor Gundaker won the
Yeah.
win in your end. So which was awesome to see.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Gordy didn't make it in this year, which was a surprise. He's always solid there. I feel like Gordy was doing a lot more partying than focusing on driving. But hey, he can do whatever he wants. It's his home city. So
There's a few drivers that do that this weekend,
yeah,
just so everybody's aware. It's not just Gordy, but
yeah.
it's a thing.
Yeah. And I thought it was funny, Trevor coming out with the Gordy Hughes sign and all that. So, yeah, shout out to Trevor. But yeah, definitely a lot of guys that, struggled, guys that didn't struggle at all. RTJ was able to get the win in the modified, wasn't even close. And I know a lot of people were like, well, if you're going to question Bobby dominating in feature, you got to question about that modified. And well, RTJ finished second in the late model and then goes and kicks everybody's ass in the modified. So, shout out to RTJ. I know that car is absolutely on rails.
That car it's a thing of beauty to watch in person. I talked about balance before. That car it's just so balanced so well. He can do whatever the hell he wants and whenever the hell he wants to do with that car. Um, I want to go kind of go back. You hinted on the Trevor thing, and if you watch that, when in you're in, and I don't know if they showed this on TV. They might have cut away or whatever, but I would say a good 5 to 6 drivers in that pulled up to Trevor to congratulate him and getting it. And that'll show you what Trevor Gundaker is. And he's always been just a top-notch dude. I've known Trevor for a very, very long time, and I'm nobody first and foremost, but he'll always walk by and pick me out and say hi. And he does that with a lot of people, his sponsors, just fans overall. But I was stoked to see him do it. Usually, Gordy's won that race before and got in. So a little bit poking fun at Gordy, and Gordy deserves every minute of it. And Gordy knows that. And Gordy was the first one on that track to pull up and tell him, great job. So please don't make it more than what it is. It's a fun little joke. But before we end here, I want to say a couple drivers that impressed me. First and foremost, Jonathan fucking Davenport. Is anybody paying attention to him all weekend? Throwing midget sliders. I mean, from left field, who knew Davenport could do anything like that? He's went on record and says this is not his forte and he hates this, but dude, he's out there throwing sliders like he's done it his whole life. Huge, impressed the shit out of me. So I don't know. Did anybody else impress you?
I wouldn't say that it was unexpected. I kind of expected it, but other than that driver intro, Ashton Winger made some noise. I know in the past he's done well, but everybody kind of sleeps on him. Nobody really talks about it, and this is an Ashton Winger type of event. He's a
Hmm.
reckless guy that just goes out there and beats the boards down. He's not afraid to have two wheels hanging over, going into the corner, and absolutely banging with other drivers. I mean, it's he's that type of driver that you expect it from. So he impressed me. I think he ended up just finishing just outside of the top five. I know Nick got around there and finished fifth. So yeah, Winger was kind of a person that stood out, and I think Jason Fager still doesn't get any credit to what his name.
No.
Another Illinois bullring guy, and nobody was picking him to win until they saw that Schrader 25 throwback coming up there in the second and trying to track Bobby down.
Yeah, so that was I mean, I forgot all about that. He shuck Ricky off a little bit and created some distance, right? And he started tracking the 32 down. I'm like, holy shit, is this going to happen? Is this the year of Fager? And he's had an outstanding year, and he was one of my dark horse picks going in. Um, but I said on the drive up there to everybody that was with me, I'm like, you're going to have 3 drivers. You're going to have your Bobby, you're going to have your Ricky, you have your Brandon, and then there's always one oddball that has a great run. And Fager was it this year. So props to him. He kind of, I think he would have had a better shot, but he had to change lines early in the race and wadded it in the fence. The whole right side went off. I'm like, that's gonna hurt. But then something happened and he ended up finishing fourth or whatever. I'm sad they didn't get to talk to him. They even pulled him in the infield to talk to him and never did. So it sucks. Great tribute. And the whole crew was dressed up. Redbeard looked like, he was standing on business. So awesome to see. But yeah, if you guys ever go, just kind of pay attention to the sliders. The sliders tell the story of the driver. Ricky's sliders, absolutely a thing of beauty. Davenport's surprised the shit out of me. Bobby's absolutely a thing of beauty. So that's the guys that know how to get it done there, and the guys that know when to torque that car, when to gas it, when to get clear. It's an art form, and regardless of what you think this event is, it favors certain drivers, and it's entertaining.
Definitely jealous you got to experience it, but hopefully on my end, I'm there next year. I'm gonna have it marked to my.
Oh, you'll be there.
No matter if I get accepted for media or not, I'm gonna get my ass to St. Louis and have a good old time. So yeah, definitely with maybe 100,000 on the table coming next year, and it's the 10th annual. Definitely a special race. So yeah, crazy event. Glad we kind of took a whole episode just to kind of recap and talk about it. We appreciate everyone for sending us pictures of our DirtX logo out there on the cars. That was really cool, and just tagging us in funny memes. I know there was a lot of cool content from this past weekend, so I really appreciate it. And all the people who have supported us, even the new guys that have followed or subscribed after seeing us on the Jumbotron, we appreciate that too. Our Prevo show did really good numbers wise, so we really do appreciate that, and everybody that comments. So stay tuned for some exciting merchandise stuff that we got planned. I know we kind of designing it and kind of tweaking some things. So appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one.